Hello and welcome to episode 484 of the Mark and Me podcast. As always, I'm your host Mark. Now joining me on today's episode is Charlie Rolfe, the lead singer and songwriter from the amazing band As Everything Unfolds. Truly one of the best bands in Britain right now. I can't wait to see them during festival season. They're going to be unbelievable. And as we're sitting here, they've just released their brand new album called Did You Ask to Be Set Free? I urge you all now to go and check out their incredible music videos. They're literally like small films. The production, the value, everything about them is magnificent. And the album is so good. So that interview will coming up in just a couple of minutes' time. But on each and every episode of Mark and Me, I'll always use the introduction just to quickly touch base and talk about my last episode. And it was massive. I was joined by Ken Andrews from the awesome band Failure. Thank you so much to the band for sharing this episode. The numbers were insane and I really appreciate all the new listeners, all the new faces I've seen on social media who have listened to it, and all the great, amazing feedback. It really does mean the world to me. But today we need to talk about the band As Everything Unfolds. So here's the interview with me and Charlie. So Charlie, welcome to the Mark and Me podcast.
Oh, nice to be here. Thank you for having me.
It's an honour. Now, what I do, Charlie, with every guest that comes on, even though we're at nearly 10 years in, 500 episodes, I always like to start the podcast the same way, especially when a musician and songwriter comes on. It's important that we get to this kind of starting point where you'll see where it then evolves. So what I'm really interested in, and you can be as honest as you want, if it's really bad and really a guilty pleasure, that's fine. But the first album you remember buying with your own money, maybe it was pocket money, maybe someone gave it you, a family friend, but that first one that you bought, if it's really embarrassing and you've never told anyone, maybe it's now the time to share it.
No, I remember this very vividly, and I'm very proud that it's the first album I ever bought. My dad had to come with me to buy it because it was explicit. So,
those stickers on the CD cover.
yeah, and it was, do you know, weirdly, I got it in my local town, which I think must have been a Woolworths. This is
Old
way
school.
back.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was Green Day's American Idiot.
Amazing.
So
What a great starting point.
I know. Well, the thing is, I think like my parents have always been so open with music, and like music has always been on like in my house growing up.
Yeah.
And I think once I started off with like, my parents bought me like Busted and Avril Lavigne when I was growing up. My mum was a bit of a punk, so there was always an element of like kind of like she wasn't afraid of like me going into like different music tastes and all that kind of stuff. And then I started to develop my own music taste. And then, I think it was American. And I think my dad liked it as well, but he was quite made up that I obviously wanted to spend my pocket money on it rather than him.
That's amazing. Woolworths was old school as well, because I went there and I used to buy, they used to have great albums in. You'd go there and get Soundgarden, Nirvana, Alice in Chains. And while you're there, you could buy like 5 little cans of pop for £1. You could get Pick and Mix sweets.
Oh, yeah. Pick and Mix.
Yeah. That probably cost more than the album, but yeah.
Yeah, you'd go in and you'd be able to get like Game Boy games or DS, because it was like Nintendo DS kind of came out around the same time. And I remember you'd go in with all your birthday money as a kid, and you would just spend all your birthday money in one shot.
All of it,
in one go.
Pretty good though when you come home with a brand new game, a big bag of sweets, loads of cans of pop, and an album. Like, it's a good way to spend a Saturday.
Yeah, bring Woolworths back.
That's what I'm going to try and campaign for the rest of my podcast career. Just bring back Woolworths. I think that's what's missing in the world right now, is people having Pick a Mix and having change from like a £5 note.
Yeah.
Amazing. God, we sound like Nan and Grandad. But what is good about that is with Green Day, it moves nicely on to my next question. And I was very lucky. So I'm 44 now, and I was very lucky that my first ever gig was Green Day, which is a nice little coincidence, but that was for their Dookie tour back in Wolverhampton back in the early days, and I was blown away. That was for me the reason I wanted to come home and be in a band. I've never kind of, even to this day, been blown away by a performance. I've seen some incredible bands, but it's that first one that makes you get excited. Were you
Yeah.
lucky? Did you have a great first experience, or surely you can't be as lucky as Green Day with your first
I
album?
mean, yeah, I'd say that's pretty, especially Dookie era, like before that. I mean, and obviously I know they were a big band in that era as well, but that was kind of before the like
The
stadium level Green
explosion,
Day.
yeah.
Yeah, which is super, super cool. But my first like band I went to see live was Fall Out Boy. So it's pretty,
Oh, lovely.
again, pretty cool in terms of like legacy act, like, and it was before their hiatus, obviously. So it was like known as kind of the just before it kind of got a bit experimental, if I'll kind of use that term. But it was definitely not because I was like right on the back of like a lot of the like sort of like From Under the Cork Tree and Infinitely
Yeah.
on High, like it wasn't in those areas, but it was just kind of like after it. But to be honest, they played like all the songs from those records, and I remember it so clearly. And it was at the O2, which is a horrific venue. And but I do remember it so clearly. It's really weird how it sticks with you, like you were saying, like it kind of when you're so new to that kind of environment, I think that you don't realize how much of an effect it has on you. Whereas now I feel quite jaded to a lot of it now. Like a band has to really fucking blow me away these days to like genuinely make me leave and go, wow, that was fucking good. Because it's so sad, isn't it? That I
Yeah.
think that the more you do things, and I suppose that is just how the world works. But
Your
yeah,
expectations get higher, don't they? The bar
they
keeps
do.
getting raised. And even when I've gone to festivals and I love these bands, last year at Download, I went to see Sleep Token and everyone was
Yeah.
talking about like, are they going to be able to put it off? It's so early in their career. They've been like given this opportunity. And I was like, oh, is this going to be incredible? Because they are amazing on record. And I think,
Yeah.
fair play. I want to see new bands. I don't want to keep seeing Kiss
Yeah.
every year and
Yeah.
they're the same bands. So I went and I wasn't underwhelmed, but I wasn't blown away. I was like, that was really good.
Mm.
Like, fair play to them. But I never, like, I remember driving home and I wasn't like, oh my God, like talking about it. I was
Yeah.
just like, I had experienced it, but it didn't leave me with that, like, feeling of just being overwhelmed and so blown away. And I think, like you said, it takes a lot now. But Fallout Boy, it's just strange actually. I was in a bar last week with a close friend and he was talking about dream guests on the podcast. And I've been very lucky that I've been able to tick a lot of them off. But he said to me, you should try and get Pete from Fallout Boy.
Mm.
And I was like, why? And
He's done a lot.
he's like those lyrics, those songwriting,
Hmm.
the song titles, all the actual writing of those songs is him.
Yeah, it is. And it's so laden with riddles and
It is.
metaphors
It's
and
so
it's
clever.
it's so unique. Like I don't th I think, as a Fall Out Boy fan, when you actually spend time actually reading the words rather than just
Yeah.
phonetically singing along, it makes you kind of, like you said, it makes you go, what the fuck is going on here? But it's hugely, hugely interesting. And he's also like been, I think he's run labels, he's picked up bands, like he's a super interesting guy, clearly had his ear on the ground a lot of the time, like sort of around that era.
So with you then, obviously seeing Fall Out Boy, having quite a great experience, terrible venue but great gig, great band. Were you at that point? Because I don't know your whole time story and kind of the whole timeline of what goes with your story, but did you do the whole college battle of the bands thing and get in a covers band, or want to be in like a tribute sort of gig? I don't know how it all came about before this band, how it actually
Hmm.
started that you were. I mean, I did it. I was at school and we'd do Green Day covers bands and The Offspring and all this sort of stuff,
Yeah.
and then do Battle of the Bands. And we thought if we won that, we could be the next Metallica. It was ridiculous. But I wondered, did you have a like same experience, or were you straight in with where we're at now?
So I started off like I don't play an instrument. I
No.
don't I sort of, it's so weird, like I find it hard to call myself a songwriter even though I write all my melodies, all my lyrics, because I feel like a bit of a like fraud. But I always struggled with the idea of like I didn't want to be a soloist. I didn't want to be just a singer. I always wanted to be in a band because I always listened to bands. Bands like Paramore, Flyleaf, they were kind of coming into my sphere, and I was like, sick, I want to do that.
Yeah.
But I didn't know where to start. I was like, what, 13 probably, like when I was at school, and there wasn't many people. I was kind of one of the sole grebos in my year. Like I wasn't there wasn't many people who listened to the same music as me, so I was kind of restricted in that. There were a couple of boys that like we started off something and it didn't go very far. I think it was like one or two practices and then it just kind of fell apart. And then actually a friend from my primary school, so like kind of like an old time friend who went to another school, was like, "Hey, look, I heard from your mum. My mum told your mum, kind of thing, that
Wow.
you sing." And I was like, "Oh yeah, like yeah, like I sing a little bit, but I've never sung in front of people before." And he was like, "Cool, do you want to like come and see my band?" And I knew his band because I'd been to see them at like you said, like school, like Battle of the Bands or like local gigs in like the village hall kind of thing. And I was like, oh, yeah, okay, why? And it was one of those moments where like, I could have said no, and my whole trajectory of life could have changed. And I said yes, and I went along, and I met these guys who I'd never met before alongside Matt. And then I ended up joining the band, and they were so good. Like because we were all the same age, we were all like sort of 14, 15, and we just had fun. We wrote music, and I didn't feel like I was being judged for like not playing an instrument. I just sort of wrote what felt right. And as I left, I think we sort of about year 11, so maybe like 16, 17, it all kind of just naturally fell apart. You know, they went a different direction musically, and some of them are in bands now. They're, funnily enough, three of them are like some of my closest friends I see on a regular basis still. So I have very
That's
good
wonderful.
relationship with them.
Yeah.
It's amazing. And they still come, all of them came to my recent headline show and I gave them a little shout out and it was very
Oh,
nice. Yeah, so it's really nice. So that's what I mean is I feel like they were such like a core group of people for me in terms of my journey. And then again, I was left without a band after this all fell apart. And then I was like, well, I've got a bit more confidence now. I've got a bit more sort of like, something behind me. I was 17. I was like, why the hell not? And I went on to joinmyband.com, which
that's
is a blast
amazing.
from
That
the
brings me
past.
back. Yeah.
It really does. And it was obviously horrific for the most part. Like it was, but you can do it by area. So, because at the time I didn't drive, I couldn't afford to like get lessons or anything. So I was like, oh, okay, I'll find a band in Buckinghamshire. But it was so hard to find somebody of my age group.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, I think the band messaged me first, but as Everything Unfolds existed as a band before
Yeah.
I did, very loosely, may I add, but it did. And they sent me these, in hindsight, horrific demos. But at the time, I was like, yeah, this sounds amazing, and I sort of was
I
really
love
drawn
it.
in by it. And I liked the fact that they literally lived 15, 20 minutes down the road. I met them and we played Paramore covers, Fall Out Boy covers, and played like, a couple of local pub shows. And then, skip forward a couple of years and we ended up playing a show in High Wycombe before COVID happened, and then after COVID, we played the Download pilot. So it was literally in that gap
So surreal,
that
isn't it?
it just suddenly we released our debut record, which again we never expected to do what it did, but it just kind of took off, and yeah, that's kind of the short version.
I was at that festival when it came back, and I was always really unsure because I had loads of tickets for gigs over that kind of lockdown period, and everything
Mm,
was being cancelled. I had tickets to Incubus, Faith No More. I was like, I couldn't believe that every gig was being cancelled.
I
And then when
know,
that festival happened, it didn't even. It's looking back now, it felt so surreal. Like they took this
so weird.
risk of like, do you want to come to a festival, but it's going to be very small and it's not going to be what you're used
It
to,
was
and
amazing.
but it was fucking
It
awesome.
It was we always say like as a band because we've done Pilot and Real Download, and I
Yeah.
remember we did them consecutive years, and I remember after we played Real Download we went, don't like this, can we go back to the
Yeah, can we go
Pilot?
back to the
Because
little small one? Yeah.
yeah, it felt like, and this is what I mean, like even as a band, like people always say, oh, the bigger the better, oh, it must be amazing, and I'm like, no, it's actually about like the rapport of the people. I think people were so fucking excited to watch live music that they went and saw every single band they could,
Yeah.
and it was the alternating stages, so there was no clashes.
It was
It
unbelievable.
was the best day, and and even people that went to the festival, they said it was the best festival they've ever been to. I think it was like 10,000 people or something, which is
Yeah.
like perfect.
Bring back COVID. But yeah,
Yeah, just
just
parts of
so we
it.
can have bits of it. Yeah. So, were you kind of nervous getting that kind of first bit out the way? I know you said the band was established, but it wasn't like it was anywhere in the scene. You weren't known as a band at that point. You were kind of joining an existing band, but were
Yeah.
you kind of like wanting to like start off fresh? Did it feel like even though it was an established band, as in the members were working together? Were you like, I just want to come in and kind of wipe the slate clean and have no expectations and do what we want now I'm in the band?
I think weirdly, it's so funny because I've only just realised every band, two bands I've joined, they existed before. I've never actually formed a band.
Yeah.
But I think just it happened naturally. I think like they were quite fresh and new anyway.
Yeah.
And we were playing covers and then they had a couple of originals and I did actually sing for quite a while, some of their older songs. And then we wrote songs and they kind of faded out naturally. Like it was a very kind of I mean, they were clearly searching for a singer, so I think that they were quite open to the idea of things changing. And yeah, there was never a point where I feel like I was up against like any kind of like difficulty in a band existing already. I think maybe if it had been like you said, like more established, maybe they'd
Yeah.
released a debut record or something like that, maybe would have been a bit harder, but I'm pretty sure like the only thing that was out there was an EP on like Bandcamp or
Yeah.
something. So, but it is funny to think I've never actually formed a band.
That's cool though. That's all right. I think it's working now and you're very happy with what you're doing. And as we are literally sitting here, we're hours away from the album out.
Yeah, yeah.
Is that a
Literally.
scary feeling when it's the new release day coming up and you can't retract anything and it's out there, it's printed, it's ready. You can't suddenly go, "Oh, I'm not sure about that lyric actually anymore." Are you
Oh,
just like,
don't. The curse. It's thing is, I do that. I'm actually worse, like when we leave the studio, because I think you're so close to like being able to just turn around and change things that
yeah,
I'm always like, oh God, like could I have done that better? Could it? But actually, weirdly, as time goes on, you kind of tend to like distance yourself from it a little bit and you're able to look at it more objectively rather than like be too in it. Because the amount of times that I listened to like the tracking mixes before it got mixed and I was like, oh my God, like what is that? And then now I listen to the same song and I'm like, what did I even hear? Like, what was I hearing? But I think it's because like especially as a vocalist, like it's so psychologically based. Like, like what yeah, where your headspace is at. I think I was associating like how I felt on that day with my vocal take. So it was kind of like if I was in a bad mood, I felt like I wasn't doing my best sort of output. So yeah, but I feel like and every album is a scary thing for different reasons. I think a third album is a weird one because your first I don't know what I was worried about. Your first is like free reign, you can do whatever the fuck you want because there's nothing to compare it to. Your second album is quite scary because then you're like, oh, okay, well, we need to do better than the first one. And your third album is kind of this is where people say it's like the make or break album, don't they? Like it's kind of like where bands start to
it's so
really
true.
find
Yeah,
themselves. Yeah. So this one is like I said, I'm confident in the way that oh, I know what to expect with an album campaign, but there's a lot of new stuff. Like we've got new management, new label, new press team. Like there's so much that like unknown like in this time round. But at the same time, it's exciting. Like we actually like that it's a bit kind of uneasy because I think that when you get too settled, when you get too comfortable with what works for you, it's so easy to become stagnant. So I think that a bit of uneasiness gives us a bit of sort of, room to kind of be like, right, we've got to be on our toes a little bit.
does it in a weird way because of all the change behind the scenes you just mentioned? Does it kind of feel like another debut in a weird kind of way because it's a whole new team, a new family, a new presence within the people around you? It
Hmm.
must feel like and I don't mean the word product as in what you're doing, but it must feel like a brand new way of looking at it.
Yeah, well, it's funny because like in emails for a while, our label was referring to it as LP1 because obviously to them it's
It is,
LP1 and we're
yeah,
like,
yeah,
what's going on? Like, we're like, no, this is LP3. What you want about? And so there is an element. I do agree. I think it does feel like a debut in some way. Like, and I do always feel like we tend to kind of do like an era, like the eras kind of thing with our albums. And
yeah,
so there is an element of like a reset every single time, which I do quite like. It's kind of done deliberately on my part. I'm a big Mike M fan. I love like that
yeah.
kind of
Those
statement
concepts are
era.
incredible, yeah.
Yeah, like statement era stuff. I think it really like gives it a strong branding, but it also kind of like gives you a world to live in. Like I love living. I'm a big world build person. I absolutely love it. Like I love RPGs, I love movies, I love all that kind of like stuff, and I really enjoy it. I kind of find myself create like being able to kind of sell the product in if
Yeah,
you know what I mean, inverted commas for
of
the
course.
audio listeners. Um, the yeah, if I'm living in it, but yeah, I think. kind of
If
a
you can
debut in
create
some
a
ways.
world to go with your releases, or even just a theme, or throughout, like one of my favorite bands of all time is Paramore.
Hmm.
I've literally traveled to New York to see them, and I think Hayley Williams right now is probably the best songwriter in the whole world right now.
Unreal. Yeah,
A solo album alone
unreal.
is the greatest thing
Yeah,
I've ever heard. 20 tracks of perfection, and just watching her
yeah.
live footage at the moment, I'm up. I'll happily
How is she
say
that
I'm
flawless? It
obsessed.
frustrates
Yeah, like
me. It's
you look incredible, you sound incredible,
yeah,
your appearance, the theme,
yeah,
if anything, it's like it feels like an underground first time solo
yeah,
artist going out there without this Grammy award winning band behind
yeah,
her in the past, and everything feels like an era.
yeah.
Hard Times, all that kind of era of that was just this like really colourful 80s retro-y Talking Heads theme. And with you guys, I can see it with the new album, it's such a great world to be part of, especially if you're so influenced by films, like you said, and My Chemical Romance and all that. But isn't it so much more interesting than just releasing an album? Like the way you even appear for your photo shoots, everything about your image, the way the posters are
Hmm.
done, the even the font you've used for your band on the tour posters, all of it's got a reason to be there.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I actually, my educational background is art and photography.
Yeah,
So I did a photography degree. So everything in my world is very like 50-50 music and visual. Like I've always approached music with a visual head on it. So when I listen to demos, Adam and John will kind of give me like like a backbone of a demo song, and I will literally sit with like two notebooks, and I've got one notebook that I'll maybe put some words on or something, and another one that I will literally write out like what I'm seeing in my head, because I know a lot of people have like synesthesia, which is like colors. I don't have that. I just have full blown music videos happening
I
in
love
my
it.
head, and I just write them down, and I know that 90% of it won't get used, but I really enjoy like living in it. And I feel like what I do is I then take those elements that I feel like might work and then bring them to our sort of director. And I sort of go, we like collab and sort of go, right, okay, what's going to work, what's going to not work. And, but it, and it's really important for me. And I like, even down to the clothes we're wearing, everything was planned out. I'm a big, like we do every album I do, the boys laugh. I do LP, whatever it is, the PowerPoint, and I sit everybody down.
I love it.
And I do like a big
Big
project,
presentation, like welcome
yeah,
to
big
today's
presentation. Yeah,
handouts.
no, it is.
Yep.
And I go through it and I go,
Any
right, this is
questions
what
at
we're
the
gonna
end,
wear.
guys? Can we wait till the end? Yeah.
Literally, what we're gonna wear, what the mood board is, what like, because even with the artwork, it was an idea I had. It's my concept
Yeah.
build. And it was just something that I could never execute myself. I'm a big Gregory Crewdson fan. I'm also a Briscoe Park fan who actually did the artwork for Not Gloose's You Won't Go Before You're
Yeah.
Supposed to.
Unbelievable.
Well, I
Yeah.
followed him for years. And I really liked that kind of like sort of ethereal, kind of like film set-esque look. So it was really fun to kind of play around with that as well as playing around with the music. And I feel like there's a lot more like kind of synthwavey influence on this record, like a little bit more like production stuff. Like John had his hand on a lot of the demos a lot more, and that's kind of that cyberpunk neo noir kind of look as well in some places. So yeah, it's been fun for me. I feel like it's like my most kind of eccentric ideas, I guess, in some ways. I've had to pull a lot of it back. If I had a limited budget, I'd
Yeah.
be making a full-length film. But we got what we've got.
The
But it's been
cover,
fun.
so for the listeners out there, we're recording the day before Did You Ask to Be Set Free is out for the world to see. And the cover, if you haven't seen it, listeners out there, is this really, I don't even, yeah, for me, it felt like, I'm not sure, have you seen the film It Follows?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it felt that kind of eerie
Hmm.
horror, kind of neon, even a bit David Lynchy, a bit
Yeah.
horror, like spooky, uncomfortable, like what's this?
Yeah.
And I love that. Like that could
Yeah.
literally be a film poster, and I'd
Yeah.
go and buy
Well, I think
a
that was
ticket to see
kind
it.
of the idea. Yeah, it was kind of the idea. Like all of so four of the music videos, one of which is coming out in 2 hours, is
Nice.
a homage to a movie. So the first one is Blade Runner.
Yeah,
The second one is was Bram Stoker's Drac. Wait, hang on, am I getting mixed up? Oh no, it's three. So three official videos.
yeah,
So yeah, but Blade Runner, Bram Stoker's Dracula, and then Donnie Darko.
yeah,
And yeah, it's just been kind of, but all of those films kind of tie into the concept as well. It's all about like human condition, maladaptive daydreaming, all those kind of things smushed together. And and again, it's just fun to kind of take homage from worlds and directors and things that I've seen and actually make them into something, if that makes sense.
It's wonderful. I'm all for that. I love film as much as I love music, and I've been lucky enough
Same.
to have like Anthony Hopkins, Mads Mikkelsen, Kevin Smith.
Amazing.
I've had Neil Blomkamp, all those people that have made
Amazing. Yeah.
incredible films, and to hear your passion as much for the visual side of the music and being the singer of the band is amazing because you usually get that done for you, if that makes sense. And you've
Yeah.
got a team of people
Yeah.
that'll be like, I think you come into a room and let's tell you what you're going to try and look like or how you're going to dress and stuff. But I can see already, even though I've met you today, it's hand in hand with the music.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's why, like from day one, I always see things before, like I try and like not put too much of like a structure on it, but I like a loose kind of visual thing going on. And it was weird how early on it kind of came to me. I was like, oh, okay, well, I'm going to work with this, and it evolved. With the thing I started out with did not end up being the thing I've ended up with. But I think that is the journey. That's why you kind of mock things and then you try them out and then you see how it sits. And you know what? I really tried to like push my ideas out to like different people and see what their feedback was because I was basically trying to fill all the loop, fill all the holes. And if anybody had any questions, I was like, right, I'm going to answer that question by fixing what I've done. Which I think is a really important thing as a musician and as an artist is to really put your work out there and see how people respond to it. So that if they're confused or, and I love art with question, a lot of this has a lot of open question, including the title of the record.
Yeah,
I love like my most favorite universes and worlds and stories are always open-ended stuff that's more sort of higher questioning and all that kind of thing. But at the same time, you can't make it so elusive that it doesn't make sense and it doesn't invoke anything. If it just invokes confusion, something's gone wrong.
absolutely beautifully said. And I suppose when you've recorded this album and now you're looking at the summer ahead with festivals, I think, is it Download and 2000 Trees in the UK that
Yeah,
you've been announced
yeah.
for? Both incredible festivals. 2000 Trees is one big family. I absolutely adore that festival. I think it's the perfect size. They are doing things that are just magical, where you can be in the forest and lose yourself to this acoustic act, and then you can suddenly go on stage and see the main, huge bands like Thrice and Turnstile, and it's
Yeah.
unbelievable. I love the balance. But when you've been recording this album and the music's all done, have you always kind of had in mind that these songs need to be justified and done justice for then going to the stage and the live show? Because you can sit in a studio with your bandmates and you can write this album, you can do a few extra guitar takes, you can do some extra, doubling up with the choruses and try new things, but then you've always got to kind of strip it back and be raw and give that performance that you do and do it justice. I've seen so many
Yeah.
bands I adore, but it's like 16 overdubs on the guitar, so it's never going to sound like that because you haven't
Yeah.
got 16 people on stage.
Yeah.
Has that been a conscious thing in your mind while you've been writing and recording, or do you just kind of enjoy what you can in the studio and then let the live show be a separate entity of like what you want to do?
It's a bit of a mix because I feel like, we've as a band started out cutting our teeth in local venues, playing on wedges.
Yeah.
We only got in ear monitors when we did Download because we had to.
Wow.
Because they're like our kind of background is pub venues, toilet tours, sleeping on floors, like the OG touring situation. A travel lodge, no, that's too
Yeah, we
luxury
can't
for
afford that. Yeah.
yeah, so I feel like we kind of come from this like live is live, and it doesn't like obviously as long as you're not absolutely poor and terrible, like it's okay to make mistakes. That's what makes it live. And we yes, of course, like we have extra layers going on. I'm not being funny, like we can only do so much as five of us on the
Yeah.
stage. Do you know what I mean? But we don't have any like we only have so our previous guitarist left, and we didn't replace him. So his bits that would be are on the track because
Yeah,
we
of
don't
course.
have somebody. And with touring, I'll be honest, it's like with touring and all this kind of shit, having one less person in the band is practical for a band of our level because we can't afford having one more person. It just becomes more
That's a fifth of the
expensive.
cost gone straight away for
Ex
everything.
ex
Food,
exactly. So
hotel,
yeah.
travel. Yeah.
yeah. So it kind of became one of those things we were like, no, and you know what, like, we left on good terms with him. We were like, we felt no need to replace him. So the backing track is still called Fake Owen on our
Lovely.
thing. So yeah, but and so and Adam plays all his parts live, like, and if he messes it up, we all just look at each other and we laugh and we sort of go,
Yeah.
and it's just because that's what we always did. And I feel like there's so much glossiness over live music. Yeah, don't get me wrong, like we use like backing tracks and shit because yeah, we've got more layers. But there are some songs where like older songs especially like that don't have as many, if any at all, really, and maybe some synth pads just kind of monotonally going the whole time. But I do feel like we have become like in the studio, like we've become more like if it serves the song, like serving the song was kind of like the motto for like this record, which was like if it sounds good for this song, do it. Like
I
for
love
example,
that.
Set in Flow is one that live I know a lot of people have some people have criticized us for because like the vocals chop sample gets played on the track
Yeah.
because I'm not a computer and I can't chop my voice up. So there are points where but again, we only use it when we absolutely have to because on record we were like, that's cool. Like we've not done a conventional chorus. We wanted to do something that was more EDM because obviously we have a bit of like that EDM influence to
Yeah,
us.
of
So
course.
it was kind of like a homage to like that basically. But I can see why, like, we're a weird band because like we can go really heavy and then we can have ballads, right?
Yeah.
And everything in between. So some fans will only like our heavy music, and so when they come across songs like that, they're like, why is it got auto tune on it? And you're like, well, because it's done like that stylistically, because the rest of the album doesn't sound like that. I'm convinced people listened to Set in Flow once and went, well, they're overproduced and they've sold out now, so I'm not going to listen to the rest of it. And it's like, well, you're lost.
Yeah, and it's what you want to do, and it's important that if
Yeah,
you're not having a record executive taking you in a room and saying you need to make this sound poppier, you need to make this sound
yeah.
more polished. You're doing it because that's what the song needs and is crying out for.
Yeah, there are some songs like there's a track called Idols on the record, which actually has a demo. There was a one take scream I did from the demo, and we kept it because it was like that's the
That's the
best one.
one.
It's
Yeah,
it's super rough. It's super rough. Like, so I'm thinking you've got polished songs like Gasoline and Set and Flow, but then you've also got these more like punky-esque, like shouty, screamy vocals that were done in one take, and they're definitely not perfect, but they're perfect for the song.
yeah.
So
I love
yeah.
it. I love the variety as well. But with the dates coming up, there's a lot of stuff in Germany and Europe and stuff, which is great because obviously it's not all about just trying to make a name for yourself in the country we call England. But I wonder with the UK to explore and go out of there, out of your comfort zone, venues that might be new or even existing venues, but it's not your hometown. It's not the same faces you might have seen before. It's not a few of your friends turning up or, boyfriends and girlfriends of people you know. Do you get nervous? Do you think this is like out of our comfort zone? We need to go there and make a name for ourselves and put on the best show we can. So hopefully someone's investing and just, oh, let's go and try this band out at a festival in Germany and I'll walk past and go and check this out. But that's an opportunity for you to hopefully win a fan for life.
Mm. We always have this thing, and again, this kind of comes from our days of cutting our teeth. We will give 100% no matter who's there. We played a show in Corby to three people about 2 years, 3 years ago, and we fucking went mental because we're like those people have still paid to be here and they've come to see the same show.
Yeah,
And the same in Poland, we did a headline show in Poland, 40 people came, which we were like, fuck yeah, 40 people, like this we were like impressed. But and we there's there are so many bands I've seen like over the years that have thrown tantrums because there's like 20 people in the room, and I'm like, but though they've paid the same money, like
yeah.
as somebody yesterday at a thousand cap show, why do they deserve any less? They don't. So it's like and I don't know why, like we thrive in that. We thrive on like just the stupidity of like, right, let's get in the fucking room. Let's get on the floor with them. Let's have fun. And I feel like that's kind of what's got us like the names of like,
Yeah,
cool, like this band are like playing an arena level show. We bring a lighting production to like a 150 cap room, because we're like, well, who gives a fuck? Like it's important to give all of your fans an even like show where no matter where they go.
I
And I
love
would
that.
hate,
Yeah.
I would hate for our fans to see us at like, a festival and be like, oh, well, that was so much better than when I paid to see them at a headline show. I want them to go, cool, I'm excited to see them and I know what I'm going to get.
I'd love that. And are you nervous as a person? Do you before you go on stage freak out and think, "Fucking hell, I'm out my comfort zone. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm not feeling this tonight.
Yeah.
What am I going to do?"
Weirdly, so there's only two times I've ever felt like that. And one of them was the download pilot because
Yeah.
I have never felt so anxious in my life. After that, I honestly, I've been on stage at Wembley, we've
Yeah.
done big, arenas and things like that. Nothing. Like it was almost like
That's
going
so
in at the
crazy,
deep
isn't it?
end.
Yeah.
It's so honestly like because people always say to me like, "How did it feel?" I was like, "I wish I felt something." I'll be honest with you, and then the other time was actually we did Grass Pop last year and we changed our whole set. So like all of the click tracks were like different, everything was different, like all of the intros were different, and all of the songs were like we switched it up massively. Like songs that were at the end were now at the beginning, and I was like, I don't know if I can do this, like because you kind of rely on your muscle memory a lot, like when you're performing to kind of flow from song to song, and I felt very like again like anxious and out of
Out
my
of your
comfort
comfort
zone.
zone. Yeah. What
Yeah.
was the reason you changed it up, if you don't mind me asking?
Just for fun, like
Oh,
just
just for fun, just to give
genuinely.
you all
Yeah,
anxiety and panic
yeah,
attacks.
but
Yeah.
you know what I was saying earlier about like, keeping it
Yeah.
fresh and keeping yourselves on your toes. But, and also we kind of felt like, we'd been touring our sophomore album for quite a long time.
Yeah.
And we thought, we've kind of had the same sets for a while and people repeatedly come and see us. And I'm like, wouldn't it be nice to swap it round so it kind of takes them by surprise? And I remember seeing people's faces when we like came in second with like Ultraviolet, which is normally like encore song. So they're
Yeah.
like, oh fuck, like this is amazing. So again, it kind of gives that sense of like excitement again to the same fans.
It's amazing. Correct me if I'm wrong, I know obviously you've been doing shows, but is there plans after the album's now out tomorrow? There's some great festivals, Download is going to be unbelievable this year. 2000 Trees is my favorite. But then is
Hmm.
there like discussions going on about an album tour maybe early next year or more UK shows in a kind of a tour format with maybe 10 or 15 dates?
Yeah, yeah. So we're doing a like a support run with a band called Future Palace at the end
Yeah,
of the year, which will be good for kind of, but next, like 2027 is kind of what we're calling like the year for us, like
yeah,
our album year. And because we were talking yesterday with our team like internally, and we were saying how album tours actually don't happen when albums are released anymore
no.
because, and we all admit it, it's like, do you listen to an album when it first comes out? And 80% of us were like, no, like, and it was interesting. So we were saying that it gives it that time for people to kind of get accustomed to it, get kind of embedded in the era, like really feel like they're in
Know the
it.
lyrics
So
so you can
when,
sing along, yeah.
yeah, and I feel like just again the industry's changed and you've got to kind of flow with it. It's like yes, it's frustrating that we might have to wait like 8 months to tour the record, but at the same time, it's like I think it will be better for it, and I think that we'll get a better response. People will, potentially enjoy it more. And it doesn't mean to say that what's coming up in the summer isn't going to be worthwhile because we've changed everything up again. It will be the new era, but I think just when we think about it, like the tours we did later on in our album cycle, the second time round, we were like, were better than the ones we did for like the release tour. So
It's
it's
always
interesting.
interesting, isn't it? I go and see bands all the time, and I absolutely love new music from bands, especially ones that I really adore, like bands like Thrice and Biffy Clyro, bands
Hmm.
I've like grown up with, and I'm like, oh, new music. But you do see the crowd drop, and even if this album's been out a month, even
Yeah,
people are just not crying out for that song, like for Biffy, like Bubbles or the big
yeah,
song that they know. But it needs time to become that song. And, for bands like Biffy, I want to see them in 6 months' time. So I'm really like, come on,
yeah,
play their new stuff.
yeah,
And I've seen it. I've seen bands completely can actually ruin everything of a show when they're like, right, guys, you haven't heard this one, but it's off our new album. Here you go. And everyone's just like, what the
yeah,
fuck? And
yeah,
it just dies.
yeah.
And you're like, okay, that's cool. And
And it's
I'm
not that those
intrigued, but
people, yeah, it's not that those people aren't interested. They just,
no, but
when you go to a
there's no
show,
familiarity. You're just sat there going,
exactly.
what the fuck is this? Like, I'm
Yeah,
interested, but what is it?
that's it. That's it. And I feel like weirdly, like, as I've got older and kind of time's going quicker as well,
Yeah.
I find that I still consider an album new 2 years down the line.
Yeah,
Do you
of
know what I mean?
course. Yeah.
I still in my head, I go, oh yeah, Architect's new album. And everyone's looking at me and I'm like, what? And they're like, that was 2 years. And I'm like, yeah. Like to me, it's still like a new out, and I think that's it. Is it the way music is now? Is it like it just albums are further apart because people are releasing more singles, more EPs.
Yep.
They're longer drawn out campaigns with more singles in the middle. So I feel like just naturally, yeah. And I agree with you. Like you know, and we always try and approach it as a listener. We're like the same thing. Like when I go and see bands I love that they're releasing new music because I know what it feels like to release new music. But also when it, like you said, when it's only been out a month and I've maybe only heard it once or twice, I'm probably not going to go as ham as I would if there's a song from an album 2 years ago that I'm like, oh yeah, this is on my regular rotation, you know. So
We're
yeah,
on the
it's
same
hard.
page there. I'm the same. I'll always say to people like, I absolutely love that new album by Hayley Williams. They're like, that's a year old now. I'm like, what? Shut up! Like,
Yeah,
stop.
yeah,
It's still new.
yeah,
I'm listening to it
yeah.
like it's fresh. Like, stop it.
Yeah, but that's
But
it. So it's just trying to, and we always try, like if we do a festival, we
yeah,
just cater our set list to like, let's be real, the ones people want to hear, as in like the casual listener.
of
Like,
course.
you know, if you want to hear the deep cuts, come to our headline shows because that's where we play the more ballad. You know, nobody really wants a ballad at Download Festival unless
No.
it's like pissing it down with rain and it's 10 o'clock at night, right?
And your Guns N'
But like,
Roses, yeah.
yeah, exactly. But like it's you know we're a like relatively fresh band to a lot of people, and they want to just be in the sun, have a good time, drink some beers, and listen to some good
Yeah,
good music that they can get involved in. And I think, well, what let's play the songs that people can mosh to, can jump to, can sing along to easily, because
yeah.
then it's just more fun for everybody.
It's a big party then, isn't it? And celebration.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
What I do, because I'm conscious of time, is with every guest that comes on the podcast, I'm always very aware of trying to make the podcast as different as I can. So with every outro song of the podcast, it's different, and we're nearly at 500 episodes, but never has it been the same. Because what I do is I take the time to ask the guests themselves to choose a song that means a lot to them. So
Ooh,
today,
okay.
Charlie, it's your time. And without choosing one of your own songs, because only one band has ever done that in 9 years,
I'd never
is
do that.
is there a song when I
Uh,
ask the question? I know it's difficult because there's so many in your head. You might have 500 at the moment, but is there a song when I ask you today that comes to your heart or your soul or your head before any other song that you would love after we've kind of finished this interview to be played?
Okay, so obviously I'm a big My Chem fan.
Yeah,
And being a big My Chem fan, I love the album tracks. I love the singles, there's no criticism of them, but I feel like when I put on, so my favorite album is Three Cheers. I
yeah,
feel like when I put on that record, one that always stands out to me is it's not a fashion statement, it's a death wish. I
amazing.
absolutely love the outro to that song. I think it's kind of got like all the elements I like that the punky kind of upbeat like kind ofness and catchy chorus and then that really big like anthemic outro. I feel like
It'd
that
be
kind of
perfect for today's episode. It'd be so epic to
yeah.
end with. Yeah.
Exactly. So yeah, that's kind of one that I feel like is like one of my favorite like sort of go-to like favorite songs. But obviously that is a horrifically difficult question.
No, it's and you might change, and later on you might be like,
Oh,
actually, I've changed my
100%.
mind. But I think it's about being in the moment now, and
Yeah.
that's some people have got it wrong and gone like, is this the song you like for my funeral? I'm like, no, just the song that you think is the one for today.
Yeah, it comes to your mind like almost like that sort of subconscious like what's the first thing that comes to your mind like kind
Exactly.
of thing.
Yeah. Well, all I'll leave by saying is I'm really, really excited for people to hear the album. It's going to be out in 24 hours. When you listen to this podcast, it's already out there, so everyone should go and listen. Get yourself down to Download or 2000 Trees, or if you're in Germany or anywhere in Europe, I think you're playing in Poland as well, is it?
Yeah, yeah, we're doing
Yeah,
like a couple of German shows, a Poland show with the Mice and Men, and then
amazing.
if not, we're doing loads of shows in Europe at the end of the year with Future Palace. So
So much happening. I will come and say hello to you at Download and come and see your set. Same with 2000 Trees, but right now in the moment, thank you for coming on the podcast. It's a
yeah,
genuine
thank you.
pleasure to have you on, and I'm really, really excited to see. I'm now going to go and watch your Donnie Darko music video because that's one of my favorite films ever. So I'm like,
Yeah,
let's
it's
let's
out
see it.
in an hour and a half.
An hour and a half, right? Perfect. Listeners, go and listen
Uh,
to it now and watch it. But yeah, thanks for coming on, and your time is very precious. So thank you.
no, no worries. Thank you.
So there's my interview with me and Charlie from the awesome band As Everything Unfolds. As I said at the start of today's interview, their brand new album is out now. Did You Ask to Be Set Free? Go and listen to it. It's got one of the most beautiful vinyls out there, a beautiful cover that basically looks like a film. And like I said, go and listen and watch their videos. You will not be let down. And if you're in the UK, make sure you go and see them at Download. 2000 Trees, they've got their own show at the end of the month in London. There's so much stuff you should get involved with, and honestly, you will not be let down. If you've enjoyed today's episode, as always, guys, please share it. You know what to do by now. All of you that are listening have got a Facebook account or Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, whatever you use. If you can just share this episode for me when you see the link out there, it really goes a long way. You might see the artwork for the episode, just share it on your stories or even just like it. Someone will see it on your feed, they'll see it and go, oh, I'll check that out. And before you know it, they're subscribed and listening to Mark and me every week. And all you did was click a couple of fingers on your phone or your device and show that episode to someone, and that's the impact it has. Remember, guys, I'm an independent podcaster. It is literally just me. And I don't have money to put into marketing and ads and all these stupid things on social media. I rely heavily on you guys spreading the word. So if you've enjoyed the episode, please take those few seconds just to share it. Also, before I go, I do have a Patreon account, so if you can sign up on there, you get exclusive episodes called The Lost Tapes, you get stickers, you get a monthly newsletter, and so much more. And all the money that goes into that this year has been donated to charity, and that's something I want to do for the remainder of 2026. And finally, before I go, I do have two sponsors I like to give a shout out to, starting with Richer Sounds. If you want anything to do with audio and visual, go on richersounds.com or visit any of their high street stores. They won't be beaten on price and truly are the absolute experts on everything to do with anything from a brand new TV to a Sonos to a pair of headphones to a soundbar. And lastly, Vice Press. If you want an amazing print that's licensed or a poster or even some merchandise, all of it is official and 100% licensed. It's done by the best artists across the whole world and it's all available on vicepress.com. If you add anything to your basket and use the discount code MarkandMe26, you'll save yourself 10% off your purchase. That's what this partnership is all about. Getting you the best items in the world at that reduced rate. Right, guys, I think that's absolutely everything for now. So before I go, please look after yourself. Take care. Go and listen to the brand new As Everything Unfolds album, and I'll speak to you all very soon.